Hey, beautiful people, it's your girl, April Sampé, back with another episode of Veg Out Live, where we dive deep into your lifestyle. Today, we'll be talking to a woman who believes that education is the roadmap to holistic health. I'm talking, of course, of Dr. Ruby Lathon. Listen, I'll introduce you, but before I do, let's go talk to our sponsors. This ain't your grandmama's ugly. Listen, it's a lifestyle, a movement, and a brand. Get your ugly shirts at www.uglybyaprilsampay.com. Ugly, understand God loves you.
Time to turn it up. Time to turn it up. Time to turn it up. We are live right here on the Go With Radio Show, right here on Go Radio Live, WinDC Radio, all wrapped up in Go With Media.
What's good? This Crank Lucas, the rap producer, and you locked into WinDC Radio, the #1 platform for independent artists and entrepreneurs.
Live and direct from the shops at Iverson, it's just Paul representing. Shout out to my man Nico. You right here on WinDC.
Visit www.uglybyaprilsampay.com for your ugly apparel. And don't forget to download the WinDC app so you can be up to date on all independent artists and entrepreneurs in your community. Now, come on, let's go meet Dr. Ruby. I'm so happy to see you. How you doing, Dr. Ruby?
I'm good. I am glad to be here as well. Great talking to you.
It's
Absolutely.
wonderful. Yes. How have you been getting through this crazy pandemic?
One day at a time. One day at a time. It's been an adjustment. So I have been keeping really busy, which has helped. Just, launching a lot of things that I didn't really have time for before. So that's probably the main way, is just keeping busy and staying connected with people as much as possible. Isolation is terribly unhealthy. So we have to, balance this between the two of staying safe and staying healthy, which would also help you to stay, staying healthy mentally is going to help you stay healthy physically. And so that's important too. So it's just been a balancing act at this point.
I agree. I talk to people on a regular basis about the fact that we are staying away from each other and how we need that human interaction.
We do.
It daily.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so important. And you realize just how much when you've gone a few days and not really talked to people or seen people, you're staying isolated. It's just not a healthy thing. So yeah, so that's really important to have that connection.
So I need to talk a little bit about your background, because we're talking about health and everything else, but
Sure.
You initially started out as an industrial and systems engineer, and then you transitioned to holistic health. Please talk about, or holistic nutrition, and in turn, holistic health. How did that happen?
Right. So yeah, it definitely wasn't by design. It was, because of, cancer, thyroid cancer back in 2007. When I was diagnosed with that, I decided, I wanted to treat it naturally and not have my thyroid taken out, and which would mean I'd be on medication forever. And I was just not a believer in lifelong medication or being dependent on anything like that outside the regular stuff. We're already dependent on air and food, water. So I didn't want to be dependent on this medication for my life. So I decided to find the natural way to do that. And in finding it, I kind of found a new passion.
Well, there are a lot of doctors out there that, would totally tell you, don't do that. You need to take this medication. You need to have your thyroid removed. And how did you learn on your own about this nutrition? Did you do a whole bunch of research, or did you talk to different doctors?
Yeah, both. I did a ton of research. I started with just researching, and then I started consulting with doctors. Of course, I got second and third opinions from traditional doctors. And then I started working with a naturopathic doctor and a chiropractor. And Listen, I met with everybody that I could possibly meet with, from radiologists to everything, because I was trying to figure out how to get this cancer out of my body, what probably caused it, because radiation is a factor in thyroid cancer and things like that. So I was on a quest. So I met with like more people than you can imagine. And so gathering all the information from them and then on my own research is how I came up with my plan.
I met a lot of Western medicine doctors, and a lot of them will tell you, it's medication.
Mm-hmm.
And I always talk about nutrition, and it's just, I always hear crickets.
Yeah, and that's the like infuriating thing about this whole cancer scenario and just healthcare in general. It is the stupidest thing, really, that the main thing that impacts your health we just overlook and say, oh yeah, that may work. I mean, it's like idiocy. You don't know how angry it makes me.
I do.
Are you kidding me? So yeah, and the thing is, it's by design. They only give doctors 8 hours of nutrition in their entire schooling residency, and that nutrition isn't about healing. It's about how medications interact with food. So doctors are given an education that is designed to prescribe medication. They are not given an education designed to heal. They are not given an education that gets to the root cause of things. So if you find a doctor that is actually giving you nutrition advice and telling you, well, maybe let's try this, or you need to make some lifestyle changes, that's a special doctor, because most of them haven't been trained that way, and then they don't feel comfortable telling you something they haven't been trained on. So that means those doctors have gone out of their way to get this information on their own to know, this works. And it's so, the information is there. This isn't even like we don't know if nutrition affects health. It's documented, but yet it is not integrated in traditional medicine. And that is a true travesty and really a crime against our humanity. And it is money driven, and it's infuriating, really. So when you say something like, I can heal with food, or, if you learn how to reduce your stress, people understand stress. But when you get to the food, it's like, yeah, not so much. And yes, we need to reduce stress, but was really getting rid of stress going to help you heal? I'm like, if stress can cause it, can unstressing get rid of it? If bad food can cause it, can good food get rid of it? But taking that leap is like, oh, now you're going into this crazy territory. So it's infuriating. So yeah, I got pushback from the doctors. So, but I have always been, from the time I've been as early as I can remember, been like, I'm gonna do it my way. Even from a child, I would be like telling my mom, "You're not the boss of me." In my head, of course. Yeah, you growing up in our household, you don't say that.
You just think it. You think it. You can't even get that look.
You learn quickly from a few mumbles. You better keep that in your head. So yeah, but that was my attitude. I'm gonna do it my way. And so when the doctors are telling me you need to do what I tell, I'm like, no, you're not the boss of me. I am my doctor. Okay, so give me the information. You help me diagnose and monitor, and I will prescribe the treatment, because I don't want yours.
Yeah. I wish more people were like you. I wish more people would do their own research when it comes to their own bodies. I do believe, in the power of medicine, and I do believe in the power of medication, depending on the circumstances.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm definitely not against doctors or anything like that. No. I'm against being forced into one way and being told that's the only option, when it's clear that there are others. I had plenty of friends who were doctors at the time who, of course, encouraged, surgery, but they understood this is what I'm going to do.
To me, that's where medicine should take a turn. Meaning, if I get in a car accident and I need to meet with a surgeon right away, it's an emergency.
Right.
That's where I say, you know what?
Right. That's
Whatever you
where
say, I'm going.
traditional medicine is the best for critical emergency situations, breaking your leg, being in a car accident, whatever, concussion, that kind of thing. That's where we need the doctors. We need to release that pressure from the brain, that kind of thing. That's where surgery comes into play. And so that's why I'm saying I'm not against it.
Mhm.
I am against the way we're using it for chronic lifestyle diseases. We're taking a heavy-handed, hack you up approach to a lifestyle disease that should be treated completely differently. And that's where the problem is. And it's by design, because the pharmaceuticals have taken over the education of doctors in order to bend them toward just prescribing medication. So as long as we allow that, then we're going to get what we got, which is a sick care system and not a healthcare system.
Talk to me a little bit about what Roadmap to Holistic Health is.
Yeah, well, it's my organization that, it's basically my umbrella of all the things that I do and collaborations that I have with people. So it is what it says. It's the roadmap to health and healing. And I take a holistic approach to working with my clients. I'm, holistic nutritionist, health coach. So everything is about that holistic approach. We're going to talk about food, but we're also going to talk about lifestyle. We're going to talk about stress. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about everything that actually affects your health. And so when you treat the body as decompartmentalized pieces, you're not going to get a full result because everything is connected.
So you're working with an actual group of individuals, or are you working, is this just you one-on-one with a client?
Yeah, so I work one-on-one with clients, and then I have, other people that I refer them to, like the holistic physician that I work with if needed, a personal trainer if needed. So I have and other health coaches if I can't meet with someone, to full load that I work with who has the same philosophy as I do. So yeah, so I have a collaborative of people, but in general, the consultations are one-on-one.
One thing that I do know that you do is throw down in the kitchen. Okay. And I know that you recently launched a delivery service.
Yes.
So does that mean that you're sending it out pretty much in your general area?
We are in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So about within 40 miles of DC right now. And then we're going to be expanding there. So next will be Baltimore, which we'll be getting there pretty quickly within the next month. So we're looking forward to that. And then also in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that's because I know it's like DC than Albuquerque. That's because I have deep roots in Albuquerque. That's where all of this whole beginning of when I was an engineer and switching my whole life and the whole cancer thing, all of that happened in Albuquerque when I was living there. And I have family there and I have connections there who wanted to open a branch of this there in New Mexico. And I love scenery. So if I have a beautiful scenery and I can get outdoors, I'm happy. We launched a few months ago and it's going really well. We're, still growing and getting the word out. And we've got, people who are subscribing weekly to the service. So it's a vegan meal plan, 5 days a week, breakfast, lunch, dinner, or lunch, dinner, however you want to put your plan together. We have that. So got a new chef on board to help with all of this. So yeah, it's growing and I'm excited and people are loving it.
You said that pretty much a person can design their meal plan, meaning if they want breakfast, lunch, breakfast, dinner, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So, do you cater that specifically to the person?
So we have each week the menu changes where we have the options that are posted on the site, which is rubyredsvegan.com. And that's Reds with an S, rubyredsvegan.com.
What are some tips that you can give us, a person who's trying to convert to veganism? Mm-hmm. What tips can you give us, especially during the holidays?
If you're trying to be healthy and vegan and plant-based, you want to get some good recipes in advance and try it out. Now, if you're going to a family function take at least one or two things that you can eat so that you're not left out. And if you can't cook and you're in the DC area, I'm going to have some dishes you can order that for Thanksgiving week.
Give us an idea of what
that you can do. So we're looking at, so I always consult with my mom because she's the master chef. She taught me how to cook. And, growing up vegetarian, I wasn't vegan. I grew up mostly vegetarian starting at about 8 or so years old. So my mom pretty much took her Southern style cooking and made it vegetarian. And then I took her vegetarian dishes and made it vegan. And now we're back and forth with vegan dishes. So, so I'm working on, we're like developing the menu right now, but we're looking like at a vegan, like beef Wellington or mushroom tart. This is what I like, a nice entree dish that's really good with gravy, of course, and sweet potato pie, because that's always a favorite. It's going to be a good savory, gravy-filled dishes for sure.
The average person growing up, they're always just like, you know what? We had ham hocks, we had hog mugs, we had this.
Right.
It's always something that's meat related. That's
right.
The staple of every meal.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't realize how they're growing up, meaning they don't realize that they're eating unhealthy.
Right. Because everything is so normalized that, eating animals is really normal, and you're eating a lot of fat, saturated fat, and that's just the way you grew up. We grew up, differently. We had, instead of ham, we had wham, which is...
What is wham, please? I need to know this. This is very important to my life.
It is imitation ham. So it was this vegetarian roll that was pink, and it was soy based, and it tasted like ham, I guess. I can't even remember having ham. It's been so long. But so my mom would, and we wouldn't have this every day, but we'd have it at Christmas, like Thanksgiving. She would bake it like a ham, like a honey glazed ham with pineapples and honey and all the cherries on top and everything, and baste it. And let me tell you, that is the best thing. It was incredible. People are like requesting her to make that every year.
I look at children nowadays, right? Well, I can't say now because everyone is inside. But if you, this time last year would go to a high school campus, you would see children eating hot fries or hot Cheetos or pickles, which, pickles aren't that bad, but the sodium.
Yeah, you're eating huge, pickles full of salt, right? And then usually you follow that up with some chips or something.
And a soda, don't forget the soda.
Right.
But you're not eating anything that has any nutritional value. And so I realize that a lot of people live in food deserts and don't even know it. And so my question to you is, if someone came to you and asked you, what would be your design to put an end to food deserts in the U.S.?
My design, wow. So there would be a lot more health food stores. And the funny thing about that someone brought up is, like, if you have a health food aisle or a health food store, then what is the rest of the stuff? It's like, so if there's a health food aisle in the grocery store, doesn't that imply that the rest of this is garbage, basically? So really, it's going to have to come with some, re-education and access to obviously healthy food. But it's like, if you make the food available without the education, sometimes people just overlook it and are still going to do what they've always done. And I've seen households that are very well off financially, and their cupboards still are terrible with all of the junk food, with all of the garbage, fast food and processed stuff. So to me, that indicates that it's not just the food desert issue, it's an education issue, because I'm like, you are in the upper end of this financial spectrum and jobs, and your refrigerator is not reflecting that. So it's reflecting what you've been taught to eat, which shows you don't know a lot about nutrition and what is actually good food. And I've seen this time and time again at friends' homes, at clients' homes that are well off financially, but you wouldn't know it by the refrigerators look the same. So that says we have not been educated on this processed food issue, and that we really need to understand what it's doing to our health, and that there are ways to make this affordable when we're eating, fresh food and we're eating beans and things, and that are not expensive, that we can buy, dried and things like that aren't that hard to make, even canned in some cases, to have access to the stuff. So we'd have to start with a real education campaign to let people understand, and then have the access there at the same time.
Well, let's start with the education campaign right now. What are some misconceptions when it comes to being vegan?
Yeah, well, a lot of it is that you're going to be, malnourished or super skinny. So I have a lot of people worried about that. And here I am, full of hips and all. I have not shrunken away at all. So I've had several clients, especially young women, who are they want to make sure they keep their booty, and they're trying to expand it actually. And I'm like, Lord, help us. But you're going to regret that in 10 years. Trying to expand the booty. But I get it. It's this whole culture that we're living in where everything is, hyper sexualized and everything, and everybody wants the, super huge assets, so to speak. So exactly. So, but yeah, I'm like, you're not going to waste away, and you're certainly not going to be malnourished. And the studies show that people on a plant-based diet are usually much better nourished and eat a wider variety of foods, so you have more nutrients coming in, so you're naturally healthier. So the fact that you're gonna suddenly miss a whole spectrum of nutrition because you're plant-based is false, and that's been perpetuated for a long time. And then the other one is that you're not going to be able to either maintain or gain weight or muscle on it, and that's not true either. The trainer that I work with is vegan, and he's very buff and hasn't lost a thing. And he's he just feels better and has better endurance having switched to a plant-based diet. And there are plenty of others. I mean, there's numerous plant-based athletes, but just regular folks who are not wasting away, who are healthier and actually have more energy and not less energy. It's people think you're going to be weak or have less energy and that kind of thing. So those are some of the big misconceptions. Of course, the huge misconception is you're not going to be able to get enough protein, which is not true. There's protein in everything. So we know that one. So it's that's just false propaganda. Veganism is exploding, and that's not going away. And they have understood that, so that you can still live a life and have plenty of food.
Let's learn what healthy is.
Right.
Oh, please. I get so tired of people telling me, well, just a piece of chicken is fine.
Right. So that's the thing, the educating on healthy, kind of getting back to what you're saying. It's where most people think of meat as protein. And so we all know we need protein, when protein is in everything. When you're eating animal protein, it's not healthy. It's just not. And especially depending on, you can make it even worse by the way you're cooking it. So, most people think of that, okay, well, red meat is, let's say if we take that out, that's a great start. But chicken has almost just as much, if not more, saturated fat, cholesterol, and sodium as beef. And then, what about fish? Fish has only about 5 to 10% less saturated fat and sodium and everything else and cholesterol as everything else. So it's not like you're making leaps and bounds. Okay, you're giving yourself 5% less or maybe 10% less. That's not a lot. So we have to understand the toxins that are in fish, the toxins that are in meat, and especially the processing that goes on with actually getting that dead animal to your plate. What is happening in that process, and the hormones they're fed and the hormones that they naturally have in their body, and the fact that saying hormone-free meat is a false thing to say, because you can't be an animal and not have hormones. But maybe you didn't add extra growth hormones, but you can't say hormone-free milk and all these lies that they're putting on packaging. So understanding that when you're eating animals, you're eating a whole person or animal that has the same body chemistry as we do, along with all the hormones and emotions that we do, and all of that is affecting us negatively. And so when we look at health and all the things that I was researching on how to heal, none of them said bacon and eggs and milk. Nobody had that as a cleansing regimen or a healing regimen or recovery regimen. It was always greens, antioxidants, and fruit, high antioxidant fruits like the berries, the dark leafy greens, and all those things. That's what's healthy. So the more of those you eat, along with the fiber of those things, and then the beans, nuts, and seeds, that's what a healthy diet looks like. We've just gotten so far off track that we're feeling like if there's not the piece of dead flesh on the plate, that now we're eating imbalanced, when that's not true. What we need to be doing instead of the dead animal, because I like to call it what it is, let's put the beans on the plate, and let's make some of the yummy food that I'm eating.
Listen, what is next on your agenda?
I developed a couple of courses that are live right now, and both of them I'm super excited about. So one of them is called How to Get Out of the Life You Created. And that is aimed at people who are just not satisfied with where they are. Maybe you're in a career that you don't like. Maybe you're stuck somewhere and you want to be in a different relationship. You want to be in a different lifestyle. How to get out of this life that you created, because you did create it, and into one you really want. And so that's really one that I'm super excited about. And it's really what I had to do. I completely reinvented myself from unhappy engineer to what I would do for free, which is helping people and educating people and cooking up awesome food, which I love to do, my passion. And then the other is an alternative approach to healing cancer. And it really kind of distills all the information that I've been studying over the years and put into a course for people who need that information to recover or even prevent cancer. And so that course is pretty powerful. I put a lot of time and effort and energy into it to take all of the roads that I went and give you the roadmap. And so that's what that course is. And those are, on my website, and people are signing up, and I'm really excited about. I'm super excited about those. It was really great making them because there's so much information, and so they're video based and they have homework, and so it's me talking to you, so you're not having to read a whole lot, but you do have the homework to follow up with each session, and so you kind of get me in your home walking you through it.
I think you're awesome, and I really do appreciate you spending this time with me.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. Yes, I appreciate, and thank you for having this broadcast show. It's awesome. And so definitely folks can follow me. You just put my name in, Ruby Lathon. You'll find me on all the social medias, probably except TikTok. And I'm like, do I have to do that one? But so I'm out there always sharing good information. And I'd love to hear from folks too.
Love it. Well, we will definitely see you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Hey, beautiful people. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Follow Dr. Ruby Lathon on all social media platforms. Visit WinDC Radio.com for information on independent artists and entrepreneurs in our own community. And visit Ugly by AprilSampé.com to get your ugly attire. Always make time to veg out live only on Veg Out and Dine.
Can we talk for a moment? Hoping you will let me in. Tell me all your little secrets. better than it seems. Hello.